I am a very busy man. Clearly,
can I post you?
If you wish to make a complaint about me,
I've got it all on record. I got it all on record. What did I swear? I called you a biff. Now, how would you react to that?
I'm quite offended the fact that you.
Would you?
Welcome to Police Prep, your trusted guide to joining the UK Police. Get expert tips for exams, interviews, fitness, and recruitment. Prepare today, protect tomorrow. This episode is from Reggie Photo. You can find his channel in the link below. Please subscribe and support him. In this episode, Reggie goes to Preston Station to film in public. As soon as he walks up to a police van, a sergeant speaks to him in a very rude and offensive way. When Reggie calmly asks why he was spoken to like that, the sergeant sends him away instead of apologizing. Then another sergeant makes things worse by falsely claiming that Reggie was the one who swore, even though he was speaking calmly the whole time. The whole situation shows clear dishonesty, arrogance, and misuse of power, and it was all recorded on camera.
go away, you biff.
Biff?
Go away.
Why?
Because I'm busy and I haven't got time for people like you.
You call me a biff?
I called you a biff.
What for?
Because you're a biff.
Why though?
Now go away because I'm busy.
I just went like that.
Somebody. Yeah, I know, and you know me now. So go away.
What are you going to do about it?
Go away, you.
Don't call me a biff. I'm not a football lad. I'm not going anywhere. I'm on a public footpath. You biff. Miss, he called me a biff and he's a sergeant.
Okay, we just didn't.
I'm not a football lad.
Yeah.
I'm not a football lad.
Right.
He called me a biff.
Okay, are you okay to just?
Can you
walk
tell me?
away?
No, I'm not. I'm getting a train.
Right, okay then.
Can you tell me what police force he's from? Please,
Let's
miss.
see what force we are here, and we can't.
I don't know. But what? No, is it Blackburn? Is it Preston?
Lancashire Police.
No, but what?
I can't tell you you've already done the photograph anyway.
What the?
Section 5 of the law says it is a crime to use threatening, rude, or offensive words or behavior near someone who might feel scared, upset, or harassed. In this case, the sergeant's language was not just unprofessional, it could actually be seen as a criminal act, because those kinds of words, especially from a police officer, can easily cause distress. What makes it worse is that when the auditor, clearly shocked, repeated what was said, the sergeant did not back down or say sorry. Instead, he openly confirmed it by saying it again. This proves it was not an accident or a moment of anger. It was done on purpose, which shows a mindset of disrespect rather than one of public service. A police officer using this kind of language does serious damage to public trust. It also breaks the College of Policing's Code of Ethics, which clearly states that officers must treat people with respect, politeness, and fairness. The fact that this officer was a sergeant, someone who was supposed to set a good example for others, makes the whole thing even more unacceptable.
We're just dealing with.
I know, but you weren't dealing with anybody when I was at the side of the van.
Okay.
He called me a biff. Why?
Come on, just talk to the police.
I've had a very, very long day.
Yeah.
I'm very busy. I'm very tired.
Yeah.
I've still got a long time to go on this shift. And
Yeah.
the last thing I need is people like you coming to the side of my police van, pulling stupid faces when I've got stuff to do. I am a very busy man. Clearly,
Can I post you
if you wish
faces?
to make a complaint about me, fill your boots. But I've had enough.
What
and I need
station
you
are you
to go
What
away
station are you based at?
now. Blackburn.
Blackburn.
Yes. All right.
Right.
Thank you very much. You've had your fun now. Please, will you leave?
No,
me
I'm catching a train.
Right. Well, go and get a train then.
Serious constable.
Yeah.
Are you a sergeant?
Yes. Go and get a train. If you want a train.
That's unwanted contact. That.
You're going to finish with getting arrested. You're
He's a police officer.
I don't want to get arrested. No, I know.
Just go.
Stop pushing me in my back, please. I'm not a football fan. I'm not a football fan.
Walk to the train station.
Sergeant, that is pure that.
There's no need for this, isn't it?
That is pure that. What he did to me then.
Things get even more serious when the sergeant physically pushes the auditor away. Police officers are only allowed to use force when it is truly needed and when the situation actually calls for it. In this case, the auditor was not being aggressive or threatening anyone. He was simply asking why he had been spoken to so rudely. Pushing someone in this kind of situation could be classed as common assault under the law, meaning the sergeant went beyond what his role allows him to do. The most revealing moment in the whole encounter is when the sergeant says, "If you wish to make a complaint about me, fill your boots." This comment shows an attitude that some senior officers develop over time, a feeling that their rank protects them from any consequences. Rather than admitting he was wrong or trying to calm the situation down, the sergeant makes it clear he does not care about being held accountable. It shows a dangerous way of thinking, that being higher in rank gives someone the right to treat people badly without facing any punishment.
Walk to the train station.
Did you witness the pushing?
I'm not witnessing any pushing, no.
You didn't witness the pushing?
We're just removing you from the area because
I'm going on a train. I'm going on a train.
Why are you not walking? Come on.
Why would he use that language to me though?
Come on.
Please, miss.
Come on.
You are currently live to hundreds of people, sir.
Your behaviour towards police officers today has been nothing but disgraceful.
Disgraceful? I've got it all on record. I've got it all on record. I got it all on record. What did I swear? Did I swear or anything like that to you, sir? What did I swear? Pull in a face? Pull in a face? You committed a public order offence. You called me a biff. Did you call me a biff? Did you call me a biff? Pull a face. That's what I do to kids. That's what I do to kids. You call me a biff, and I've got it all on camera. Sergeant 75, you will be disgraced, sir.
The sergeant's excuse for his behavior is hard to take seriously. He claimed that the auditor was making faces at him, and that this somehow justified his swearing and pushing. This is both childish and has no legal standing. Being looked at in a certain way does not give any officer, especially a senior one, the right to lose control. A sergeant is expected to stay calm and professional at all times, no matter what. The irony is hard to miss. The sergeant accused the auditor of disgraceful behavior, yet it was the sergeant who swore, used physical force, and refused to apologize. The auditor spoke up but never became violent. If anyone behaved disgracefully in this situation, it was clearly the sergeant. This is a classic case of blame shifting. Instead of taking responsibility for his own actions, the sergeant tried to turn things around and make the auditor look like the problem. The idea that a few facial expressions could excuse such unprofessional and potentially unlawful behavior makes no sense at all.
You're obviously harassing my officers.
Harassing your officers?
I'm seeing people a little bit upset when you're speaking to them.
Do you know why they're upset? Because I've caught them out calling me a biff, and I've got the evidence to back that up. Would you endorse that sort of language?
I'm not going to comment on what other people have said.
So if I called you a biff now, how would you react to that?
I'm quite offended the fact that you...
Would you arrest me for that?
...sworn on the railway, which is contrary to a bylaw 8, so I suggest you...
And I would not do that, sir.
You have.
No, I've told you what he said.
Sworn.
No, I told you what he said.
It doesn't matter because you swore.
The real problem here goes beyond just being unprofessional. It is about deliberately twisting the facts. The auditor was clearly repeating what the sergeant had said as an example, not using the words as an insult toward anyone. Despite this being obvious, the second sergeant immediately uses it as an accusation, claiming that swearing on railway property breaks the rules, without acknowledging that the auditor was simply repeating what the first sergeant had said. This is a clear and dishonest attempt to turn the blame around. Instead of dealing with the original misconduct, the second sergeant tries to make the auditor look like the guilty party. This is both unfair and dishonest. What makes it even more worrying is what this behavior reveals. Rather than holding his colleague accountable for using offensive language, the second sergeant chooses to protect him by twisting the situation. This is known as a circle the wagons mentality, where officers close ranks to shield one another rather than doing what is right. This is not just bad policing. It is a calculated and deliberate attempt to cover up wrongdoing by distorting the truth.
What, by repeating one of your... Can I report a crime to you?
Absolutely report a crime.
Well, I want to report a crime to you. One of your constables called me a biff. Right. Sergeant 75.
Well, that's not a constable, that's a sergeant.
Well, it's still a crime. I'm repeating his words. I haven't said them. I'm saying what he said to me.
Yeah, well, you then said, what if I called you?
So I'm asking you what in return.
You have sworn without referencing another person.
Well, can I just tell you this, sir? Just spin this here. We're live to a lot of people right now,
really
right?
Bothered about that.
So therefore, just be careful where you go with
Do you
this.
understand that the railway bylaws?
I know the bylaws, but they haven't. None of the British Transport Police have asked me to leave.
It's a constable.
A British Transport Constable, not a Lancashire Police Constable.
How are you misunderstanding the law? It says the word constable. Constable can enforce a bylaw. Yes, the BT can have primacy, however a constable can enforce a bylaw. You are currently, by swearing, acting in an unacceptable manner.
Oh, so here we go, guys. Another tyrant here. He's just said that I am swearing by merely repeating a sergeant's words. That's what I was doing. I wasn't swearing. No. Listen, Constable. So you are not. You can't. No. I ask you a question. I ask you a question, Constable. You're a sergeant as well. So is this how sergeants go down? I swore. I asked you, how would you feel if I called you that? Right? So I won't repeat it again because I don't use that language. I don't use that language.
Using that language towards me. I do appreciate it.
I don't, because it weren't directed at you. He directed it at me.
Then what I'd advise you, if you've got evidence, is ring 101 and make a complaint.
I want to make a complaint to you now.
I can't investigate another sergeant. He's the same rank as me, so what I would suggest...
Oh, you can't investigate another sergeant? He's same rank? That's corrupt, that.
One of the most revealing moments comes when the sergeant accidentally admits that he cannot investigate another sergeant because they are the same rank. This is a huge and damaging confession. It exposes an unwritten rule within the ranks that officers will not hold each other accountable. The auditor is completely right to call this out as corruption, because it goes against the very principles of fairness and accountability that policing is supposed to be built on. This way of thinking, that officers of the same rank are untouchable, sends a very dangerous message to the public. It suggests that the higher up you are, the less likely you are to face any consequences for your actions. In reality, every officer, no matter what rank they hold, has a duty to take complaints seriously and make sure they are dealt with properly and fairly. By openly admitting that he will not look into his colleagues' behavior simply because they share the same rank, the sergeant actually proves the auditor's point for him. It makes clear that this is not about doing the right thing or acting with professionalism. It is about protecting those within the circle, regardless of how badly they have behaved.
I will be doing in my own time. I asked you a question. I wasn't swearing at you, and you know that, Constable.
However, the second time.
You know I weren't swearing at you.
Swearing in general, when?
But do you know what? If there's no member of public making that complaint, if there wasn't a person in the hearing of sight of that verbal, well, you haven't got a complaint of it, so there you go.
I need a complaint.
You do, because you can't be offended by that word.
But I'm not talking
that might be in my vocabulary.
Public order act. Talking about the bylaws.
Bylaws for the train station. So no British Transport Police Constable has asked me to leave this, which is accessible from all members of public until you get to that door.
Private property.
It's not up. It's up until you go into them doors.
No, you're misunderstanding.
Well, you ask a British Transport Constable here now.
This is part of the railway.
I spoke to a British Transport Constable and he has no problem with me being here, and you do in your Lancashire Police.
I have got a problem with that. You're swearing.
I'm not swearing. I asked you a question, sir, on your sergeant's words.
You sworn.
The sergeant knows full well that the auditor was not actually swearing at him. He was simply repeating what the first sergeant had said. But instead of acknowledging this, the sergeant tries to make the auditor look like the one causing trouble. This is a deliberate tactic to confuse the situation and make it appear as though the auditor is being disruptive, when in reality he is simply trying to hold them accountable. By refusing to accept that the words were a quote and not a direct insult, the sergeant is intentionally trying to turn the story around and put the auditor on the back foot. This is not just dishonest, it is a calculated move to shut down a valid complaint by changing the way the situation is framed. This constant blame shifting points to a much deeper problem. The sergeant is far more focused on avoiding criticism than on actually dealing with the misconduct that started the whole situation. Rather than addressing what went wrong, he is more interested in protecting himself and his colleague, even if that means distorting the truth to do so.
Seriously?
Well, did you not?
I swore. Is that a public order offence?
I'm not saying it is. Have I said that? Have I said the word?
Well, what are you repeating it for then?
What?
Do you know
Saying,
Section 5 public order needs to be abusive and threatening in its nature? Have I abused you or threatened you?
Have I mentioned Section 5 of the Public Order Act?
Well, what law are you trying to stop me from using that word?
Bylaw 8 of the railway bylaws incorporates unacceptable behaviour.
Yeah.
Including
That's right.
swearing on the railway.
There you go. And I asked you a question about your sergeant who directed them words at me. I've got the evidence and I never use them words. I never use them words at him. He used them words at me. And I'm asking you if that's acceptable for your sergeant to call me something biff. I will not use that word again if you don't want me to.
I find it quite offensive if you do.
The hypocrisy in this situation is impossible to ignore. The sergeant makes it clear that the word used is offensive and unacceptable, but only when it comes from the auditor. When his fellow sergeant used the exact same word directly against the auditor, he said nothing. He did not challenge it, condemn it, or hold his colleague accountable in any way. So the same word, used aggressively by a police officer toward a member of the public, was completely ignored and excused. But when the auditor calmly repeated it simply to explain what had happened, it was suddenly treated as a serious offense. This double standard makes it very clear that the rules are being applied selectively, one way for officers, and another way for the public. This is a perfect example of how some officers bend the rules to suit their own narrative. The word is being used as a tool against the auditor, while at the same time the auditor is being condemned for using it in a completely non-aggressive and explanatory way. It shows that the priority here is not fairness or professionalism, it is protecting fellow officers, no matter what they have done.
I find it offensive that he directed that word at me.
Then I suggest you ring 101, who will take your...
Well, you're not looking good, Sergeant, because you're absolutely... Because I'm asking you a question.
You're asking me to take a complaint.
No, I'm asking you a question on what your sergeant said to me, and you're saying that I'm guilty of the thing that he said to me.
I don't know what I said, I was not...
You tried to get me off this property for using a word that your sergeant said to me. Did you just try to get me to leave here for that word? Well, you've no law to say that. I'm walking in my capability. Bye. See, there you go, guys. Absolute corrupt.
As the episode comes to an end, the auditor finally calls out the sergeant's hypocrisy, directly pointing out that he is being told to leave for using the same word that a fellow sergeant used against him first. Realizing he has no good answer, the sergeant simply tells the driver to move off and leaves. It is a very telling ending. Rather than facing the truth, he chose to walk away from it. From the very beginning, the first sergeant's behavior was driven by arrogance. He swore at the auditor without any reason, and when challenged, he did not apologize, he repeated it. The physical push that followed made things even worse, showing that he preferred to use force rather than
I find it offensive that he directed that word at me.
This was not a simple mistake.
101, who will take your...
Well, you're not looking good, Sergeant, because you're absolutely... Because I'm asking you a question.
He believed his rank protected him from any
No, I'm asking you a question on what your sergeant said to me, and you're saying that I'm guilty of the thing that he said to me.
I don't know what I said, I was not...
You tried to get me off this property for using a word that your sergeant said to me. Did you just try to get me to leave here for that word? Well, you've no
example of bias in officers protecting one another over doing what is right. This episode highlights the hypocrisy and lack of accountability shown by both sergeants. One swore and used physical force. The other tried to cover for it by distorting the facts. Neither of them admitted fault. Instead, they both chose to shift the blame onto the auditor. In the end, what made this encounter truly troubling was not just the offensive language or the unnecessary force, it was the deliberate refusal to take responsibility and the calculated attempt to make the auditor look like the problem. That is it for today's video. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps support independent coverage. Also make sure to check out Reggie's channel, linked in the description. Show him some support. Thanks for watching. This was Police Perp, and I will see you in the next one.